Hello everyone, it's Jen from Practical by Default, Solutions for the Working Homeschool Mom, and today I'm here with your bonus video on how to set up your planner for the week. So if you've been following along, you should have figured out how to set up your planner so it works for your unique needs. You should also have learned what to do if your planning system stops working for you. Now today I want to talk about the 5 easy steps you can use to set your planner up for the week and why it's important. So your planning system is only good if you use it. So for an example, about a month ago, I sat down, I waved to my husband goodbye, he left for work, and I sat down at my desk and I was about to dig in to work, and all of a sudden I had this notification go off. And it popped up and it said that my son had a driving lesson that day, a class in it was like, I don't know, an hour. And the problem is that we have one car and it had just drove out of the driveway, and my husband works, like we live here, we have town, and then my husband works on the other side of the town. So I was kind of in a situation because I needed a vehicle to take my son to the class. I had no way of getting it and I was totally unprepared. So I look at my phone and I'm like, ah! And so I run down through the hallway, pound on my phone's drum, like, get up! And all this stress, and anyways, we did end up working it out, but it could have been prevented if, when I looked down at my planner, it had have looked something like this with things filled in. Instead, it looked like this with nothing filled in. So again, your planner is only good if you actually use it. So today we're going to talk about how to set it up, because knowing how to set it up is one thing, but making sure that you actually do it is another. So we're going to do this in 5 simple steps, and the first thing you need to do is gather all your supplies. So some people are into decorating their planners, so I always make sure I have these kinds of pens. These are fine line pens, something that I can write kind of small so it fits in the space, because as I showed you, this is my planner and you'll see that you have to be able to fit it in. So I like to have pens, and I like to sometimes use little stickers. These ones are kind of great because you can use the arrows, to kind of point out things, and it makes it stand out a little easier to see. So I have a whole box. I won't show you the whole box. So make sure you have your planning supplies. You need your planner, obviously. You need something to write with. I usually recommend 3 colors if you color code. You don't have to. You also want your schedules, so your work schedule, your husband's work schedule, any extracurricular activities you kind of have to cope with. If you went through the planning email course, you would have got access to the brainstorming worksheets. So you'll want to take these, but you'll have them filled in, of course. And you'll also want any trips or vacation days or anything like that that you need to write in your plan. So that's the first thing. Gather everything up and set it aside so you can use it. Okay, so the second thing you want to do is review your work week before. We kind of talked about this when we're looking at our schedule and how to rework it so it works for us. But I like to do this as I plan for the next week. So I look at the past week, the one that just went by, and you're going to want to ask yourself some questions, okay? So some of the questions you're going to want to ask is, do you need more time for activities, or do you need fewer activities? So if you find yourself rushing around and overwhelmed, maybe you can take a critical look at the past week and see where you can free up some room. Did your schedule change? So I used to work in retail, so every week we got a new schedule, and every week my schedule changed. So sometimes I'd be working on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and the next week I might work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. So if your schedule changed, you'll need to make that adjustment in the upcoming week. At what point did you feel overwhelmed? So if there's some point throughout the week that you just found like you could not cope, this is a good time to try to think back and see what that was. What was it that made you feel like you just couldn't handle it anymore? Once you identify that, then you can fix it. You're also going to want to see what can be moved around and what you can delegate. or ask for help. This is really important. If you find yourself being way too overwhelmed, see if someone within your house or outside your house can help you out. You know, can they pick the kids up? Can you go with another mom who is maybe taking their kids to swimming class too? Can you guys alternate? You know, I'll pick up your kid, take them Monday, you pick up my kid, take them Wednesday. Of course, you're going to want to pick someone that you can trust, but it's just an idea. You know, if someone offers, hey, I'm running in town, do you need anything? And you do, say yes. And I know that's really hard, but you also want to ask yourself what's working and what's not. So take note of those things, okay? All right, so we're going to review, adjust, okay? So you've got your new schedule coming up. You kind of know what needs to be fixed. You're going to make those changes. The next thing you want to do is check your priorities. So this is number 3. Most people, they think balance. I talk about the balance of working and homeschooling. They think balance means equal, right? It's not. Balance is about picking out what's a priority and making sure it gets done first. So the problem is, because it's not equal, and I'm going to illustrate why. You only have 24 hours a day, right? So let's add in things that we're going to do. Let's break it down. So if you work for 8 hours, and you homeschool for 5 hours, and you sleep for 8 hours, and you commute for 2 hours, you are left with 1 hour to eat, shower, do errands, and self-care. So obviously, that's not realistic, right? You can't divide your time like that. It's not practical, so we need to see where our priorities are and make sure that this is identified and taken care of. So you want to ask yourself these questions, such as, did I spend time with my family last week? Where do I want to be focusing my time? What did I get done? And what did I not get done that I wish I had of? Did I make time for self-care every single day? We're going to talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. You're also going to want to ask, what are your personal goals? What are you working on? And did you meet them? And if not, why not? Is it because you didn't have enough time? Is it because you had too much on your plate? And then again, make those changes. You need to write down what's important and what needs to be changed. I'm going to give you an example. So at the beginning of our school year, I thought, you know, now's the time. I'm going to be totally organized. Everything's going to fall back into place. And I was wrong. I'm wrong a lot. As life sped up and, you know, I tried to take on all of the things, I realized that I did what everybody does usually, and I took my self-care and tossed it. I was like, no, I don't have time for that. But I quickly realized within like a week how bad of an idea that was. I felt exhausted. I was tired. I was cranky. I'm not a mom who has a lot of patience to begin with, and I definitely didn't have any more. So of course, I actually took my own advice and I identified the problem, the fact that I was letting go of self-care. So, you know, it's really can be difficult because we have so many things to do and they're all important. We can't really say, well, this is important and this isn't. You know, we're identifying between important task number 1 and important task number 2, and they both are vital. How do we choose? So when we're faced with that kind of decision, a good idea is to kind of ask somebody else who's on the outside looking in. Sometimes they can see, you know, where we can make those adjustments. You could ask your husband, you could ask a friend. Sometimes you can ask your kids. They'll be really honest and say, you know, this is what needs to be changed, or this is where I notice that you're losing patience, or whatever. So be willing to face the truth on that one if you decide to ask your kids. Another thing that, again, we want to ask ourselves is, can I get help? So can we alternate, you know, tasks with a friend? You know, can you carpool? Can you do your groceries online and just pick them up? All those things can help us save time and really help us set our priorities, because obviously we need food and our family needs to eat. And so that's a great way to, you know, manage our time a bit better. All right, so we've done those 3 tasks. Our 4th one is actually to fill in our planner. And you're going to want to write everything in your planner. Now, if you've gone through the worksheets, I'm going to look for one that's filled in. Do I have one filled in? Yes, I do. It should look something like this when it's all filled in. Okay, so in the course, we talked about how we divide up our tasks and how we put them in our planner. So you're going to want to do the same system that you learned in your planner this week. So make sure everything is put in. And I'll give you an example of what that might look like in a printable planner. This is one of my favorite printable planners because you can just print off the sheets that you want. So here you can see there's homeschool and it comes down. And then in this one, it's divided. You can fill it in the way you want to divide it. So I chose morning, mid-morning, midday, and then in the evening and self-care at the bottom. So some things overlap, right? But I have teenagers, so they can do their work without me sitting right there. And so we have a system where they put all their stuff that they need me to check on a clipboard. And then afterwards, I come in and I check it when I have time. So that's the way the week should look. Some people like to color code, so when you quickly glance at it, like I can see orange is homeschool, it's all there. Purple are the puppy classes or, blog work. Self-care is in green, and any training and anything that I can't change is in pink. I have to look, what color is it? So you want it done so that it's easy to see, easy to read, so at a quick glance you can say, okay. And if I hadn't done that, I would have noticed my son had a driving class. And another thing I could have did was made a notification on my phone to let me know the day before, not the day after. So use systems and planning things that you want to enter those in. So when you plan for your week, if you use a digital reminder, make sure you put it in there as well. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit. You're going to want to make sure that you have your work schedules in, appointments, extracurricular activities, homeschooling, if you go to school, your own homework, meal prep, grocery shopping, park days, field trips, all of those things get entered in. And you're going to want to make sure that you put in self-care. Now, remember, self-care needs to be kept simple, especially if you're just starting. Aim for 5 minutes, work your way up to 10, 15, right up to about 30, or whatever it is that you need, okay? Even 5 minutes really helps. When I'm setting up my planner, one of the things that I like to use at first is sticky notes. So these sticky notes are small. I don't know if you can see those. And the reason I like to do that is because when I'm looking at my overall planner, I can move them around. Like, oh, okay, that is not going to work there. I need more time, so I can just pull it up and push it, stick it on somewhere else. You can also use erasable pens or pencils if that works. Okay, so the fifth thing is really important, and it's the one thing I always forget. And you need to buffer in, or put in buffer time or white space. Now, one thing that I always forget is the logistics of traveling. So I have a habit, I think it was like a week ago, I made an appointment for 1 o'clock, and that took an hour, and I made an appointment for 2 o'clock, that took an hour, and then I almost made an appointment at 3 o'clock, forgetting, so the first two, one was for my daughter, one was for my mom. They were in the same building, so those were okay. But the third one was for the dog at the vet. So the part I forgot is I would have to come from town, drop my mom off, who lives 15, 20 minutes away from me, come home, pick up my dog, drive all the way back in town to the appointment. And I can't do that in 1 minute. And so I don't know about you guys, but I always forget about that part. So when you're looking at your schedule for the week, make sure you put in time for travel and traffic, time to eat, time to change your clothes. If you have to go from like an office job to mucking out the barn, right? You're going to need to change. So make sure that there is space. So going back to, this is the planner I actually use. It's by Sarah Scribbles. And you'll notice that on this day, I have one thing in, right? Work. And so there's space in here to let me know that, I need to put in time for traveling to work and travel time. A few things that I found that really helped out was planning out what I'm going to wear the day before. So I make, a little pile. I have my gym clothes because I get up and go to the gym in the morning. And then I have my work clothes. So I don't have to worry or stress, what am I going to wear? Does it fit? That kind of thing. Planning my meals and having lunches that I can grab and go, just throw in my lunch can and go, is a big help. So find systems that really help you out. Anyways, those are the 5 steps that I use to plan out my week, my planner, every single week. And I also make sure to put in my planner a planning date. You can see that right there in really bad, horrible writing. And my daughter and I, she pulls out her planner, I pull out mine, we pull out our big box of planning supplies. I take out my brainstorming worksheets, I ask myself the questions that I mentioned earlier, and we plan it out. And remember, buffer time is very important, and so is self-care. And so that will help you be organized, and it will help you actually use the planning system. Otherwise, you've done all this hard work of gathering all your information, but if you don't use it, it's not going to help you. All right, so next time we have one more bonus video, and it will be time management tips. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a great day.